hypersexual black woman, the
Well,
Jezebel stereotype,
right.
was really constructed to rationalize the abuse and control of black women's bodies.
Yeah.
And this wasn't just a social phenomenon.
Wasn't.
It was woven into the fabric of the legal system.
Roberts brings this to life by highlighting the story of Rose Williams, a formerly enslaved woman.
Right.
Williams.
Welcome to Witter. Who Has Time to Read? The podcast that brings deep dives for busy minds. Listen to AI hosts Jane and Dane and get ready to unpack the world's most captivating books in just a fraction of the time. Whether commuting, working out, or just squeezing in a quick break, we deliver key insights, thought-provoking themes, and takeaways you can carry into your day. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Plus, use our links in the description to purchase this book. Your support helps us bring more engaging book discussions to you. Listen and follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Who has time to read? You do, with Witter.
Welcome back to Witter, Deep Dives for Busy Minds. This month we're bringing you our Black Voices series.
Right.
In honor of Black History Month.
Yes.
And today, we're diving deep into Killing the Black Body, Race, Reproduction, and the Meaning of Liberty by Dorothy Roberts.
It's a powerful book.
It really is.
It really unveils the ways Black motherhood has been controlled and stereotyped.
Throughout American history.
Throughout history.
It's a journey through time.
Yeah, it is, really.
Roberts meticulously reveals how racist ideologies about Black women's bodies have shaped policies from slavery to welfare to reproductive technologies.
Yes, and it's not just a history lesson.
It's not, no.
It's a critical examination of how those historical practices continue to have an impact today.
What struck me was how Roberts takes us back to the era of slavery
Yeah,
to lay the foundation for understanding these deeply rooted ideas.
absolutely.
During slavery, Black women were tragically seen as valuable, primarily for their reproductive capabilities.
Yeah.
Slave owners
Right.
saw them as tools to increase their wealth.
Yeah, as a way to produce
Yeah.
more enslaved people.
It's a chilling reality
It is.
that's often overlooked in mainstream historical narratives.
It is a chilling reality.
It's incredibly disturbing to think about the cruelty
Yeah.
that was inflicted upon these women. Families could be ripped apart at any moment,
Yes.
and the law provided no protection
Right.
from sexual assault and exploitation.
No.
Reading about this period made me consider just how much the legal system
Yeah.
was designed to dehumanize and control Black women.
Absolutely. And to justify that exploitation, racist stereotypes were really weaponized.
Yeah.
This myth of the hypersexual Black woman, the Jezebel stereotype,
Right.
was really constructed to rationalize the abuse and control of Black women's bodies.
Yeah.
And this wasn't just a social phenomenon.
Wasn't.
It was woven into the fabric of the legal system.
Roberts brings this to life by highlighting the story of Rose Williams, a formerly enslaved woman.
Right.
Williams was forced to have children with a man
Yeah.
she was ordered to live with
Yes.
by her former enslaver.
Right.
And to add insult to injury, she was denied custody of her children,
Right.
despite laws at the time stating that children should remain with their mothers.
Wow.
These events
Yes.
were justified on the grounds that Black women and Black people overall were not fully human
Right.
and therefore did not have the same rights as white people.
It's powerful.
This really underscores how Black women
Yeah.
were denied the basic human right to define their own motherhood and personhood.
Exactly. Motherhood under slavery
Yes.
was a forced condition,
It was.
a brutal tool of oppression.
And this control, sadly, did not vanish with the abolition of slavery.
It didn't.
No, instead.
It morphed into new and insidious forms.
One of the most chilling examples of this is the rise of the eugenics movement and the post-slavery era.
Yeah.
It's terrifying to think that in the United States,
Right.
a movement rooted in the belief that certain races were genetically inferior took hold
It did.
and resulted in the forced sterilization of thousands of Black women.
And it's not just a dark chapter in American history.
It's not, no.
This movement had global implications.
Yes.
The Nazis shockingly,
I know.
modeled their sterilization laws on American ones.
Unbelievable.
It makes you question
It really does.
how these ideas crossed borders and were used to justify such horrific acts against humanity.
The story of Carrie Buck,
Yes.
a young black woman forcibly sterilized by the state of Virginia, is particularly chilling.
It is.
The fact that this case was upheld by the Supreme Court
Right.
highlights just how deeply ingrained these racist and eugenic ideas were within the American legal system.
It's a sobering reminder
It is.
of how easily pseudoscience and prejudice
Yes.
can be used to justify state-sanctioned violence against marginalized communities.
And it's crucial to remember
Yeah.
that these weren't isolated incidents.
No.
They were systemic practices.
Yes.
Rooted in a long history of dehumanizing black women.
Exactly.
And it's not just the eugenics movement.
Right.
Roberts also delves into the complexities of the birth control movement, which, while advocating for women's reproductive rights,
Yes.
wasn't immune to racist ideologies.
Exactly.
While figures like Margaret Sanger championed women's reproductive rights,
Yeah.
some of their views on race were, to put it mildly,
Right.
problematic.
They were?
Birth control was often seen as a means of controlling the black population rather than empowering black women.
It's true.
This created a really complex situation
Yes.
within the black community, didn't it?
Yeah.
There were contrasting viewpoints. Some saw birth control as a tool for liberation and self-determination,
Yeah.
while others perceived it as another instrument of oppression.
Yeah, you see that tension
Yeah.
reflected in the contrasting views of figures like W.E.B. Du Bois, who saw birth control as a potential tool
Right.
for black women's economic and social liberation. But it's important to acknowledge that this wasn't a universally held perspective
Right.
within the black community.
Yeah, it reminds us that even movements with positive intentions
Right.
can be influenced by prejudice,
Yeah.
sometimes leading to the further marginalization of already vulnerable communities.
Exactly.
And this brings us to more recent times.
Okay.
Roberts meticulously illustrates how racist ideas about black motherhood
Right.
continue to have a tangible impact on policies that disproportionately affect black families.
Yeah. One example is the crack baby epidemic of the 1980s.
Oh, yeah.
It was a period marked by widespread fear and misinformation,
Absolutely.
which ultimately led to the prosecution of black mothers who used drugs during pregnancy.
What's particularly striking about this period is how the narrative surrounding crack babies demonized black mothers without addressing the systemic issues
Yes.
like poverty, lack of access to health care, and the effects of the drug war that contributed to this crisis.
Right.
And Roberts highlights the case of Cornelia Whitner,
Yes.
a black woman who was sentenced to 10 years in prison for using cocaine while pregnant.
It's awful.
This case, and others like it, illustrate how the crack baby panic was used to punish and criminalize black mothers, rather than offer support and resources.
Right.
A 10-year prison sentence seems incredibly harsh.
It does.
Was there a legal precedent for this type of punishment?
Well, that's a great question.
Or was it primarily driven by the social and political climate surrounding drug use at the time?
While there were laws in place
Okay.
that could be used to prosecute mothers for drug use during pregnancy, the Whitner case and others, it demonstrated a clear shift towards harsher punishments for black mothers. And this was driven in part by the prevailing stereotypes about black women as being unfit and irresponsible mothers.
Yes.
Narratives that were amplified during the crack baby epidemic.
It feels like a direct line can be drawn from the historical dehumanization of black women during slavery to the policies and legal actions taken against them in the 20th and 21st centuries.
Yes.
And sadly, this trend of controlling and policing black women's bodies doesn't stop there.
No.
We also see it in the perpetuation of the welfare queen stereotype.
Absolutely.
This harmful stereotype, which paints a picture of black women as lazy.
Right.
And exploiting the welfare system has been used to justify harmful policies like family caps.
Yes.
Which restrict the amount of welfare benefits a mother can receive. And as you might guess, these policies disproportionately impact black families.
It's almost like history is repeating itself.
Right.
With black women's reproductive choices constantly being scrutinized and controlled.
It's a stark reminder that while we've made progress in some areas, these deeply ingrained prejudices continue to shape policies and perceptions.
It's true.
Creating a system that often feels rigged against Black women and families.
Yeah, and to add another layer of complexity, we see how white women are now increasingly paying for expensive fertility treatments.
Oh, wow.
While Black women are disproportionately sterilized or pressured to use long-acting contraceptives.
It's a complete reversal of what we saw during slavery.
Yeah.
But the underlying power dynamics remain disturbingly similar. Access to reproductive health care and the freedom to make choices about one's body are still deeply intertwined with race and class.
Precisely.
It highlights the urgent need for a more equitable and just approach to reproductive health care. One that acknowledges and addresses the systemic barriers that Black women and other marginalized communities continue to face.
Absolutely.
And Roberts doesn't just focus on historical and current policies.
No.
She also delves into the ethical implications of new reproductive technologies, which, while seemingly neutral, have the potential to exacerbate existing inequalities.
Absolutely. Advancements like surrogacy, egg donation, and genetic testing, while offering potential benefits, also raise complex questions about access, affordability, and the potential for reinforcing existing racial disparities.
It makes you wonder who really benefits from these advancements and who gets left behind.
That's a crucial question. We need to be critically aware of the potential for these technologies to create new forms of stratification where certain groups have more control over their reproductive destinies than others.
Roberts really challenges us to think beyond the individual choices.
Yes.
And consider the broader social and political context surrounding reproduction.
What's so powerful about this book is that it connects these personal experiences to systemic issues. It helps us see that decisions about reproduction are never truly private. They're always influenced by the social, economic, and racial structures we live in.
So it's not just about individual rights. It's about social justice.
It's about ensuring that all women, regardless of race, class, or background, have the power and resources to make informed decisions about their bodies and their families.
And it's about recognizing the ways in which racism continues to shape the lives of Black women and families.
Yes.
Even in the realm of reproduction.
Roberts' work is a call to action.
It is.
It compels us to confront these injustices and to work towards creating a more equitable society for all.
It's been an eye-opening deep dive, and I think one of the biggest takeaways for me is the importance of being informed and engaged citizens. We can't be passive when it comes to issues of race and reproduction.
I completely agree. We have a responsibility to educate ourselves. Challenge our own biases and advocate for policies that promote reproductive justice.
And a crucial part of that education, especially during Black History Month, is to seek out and amplify the voices of Black authors and thinkers like Dorothy Roberts.
Absolutely. Roberts' work is just one example of the rich and insightful perspectives that exist within the Black community.
So as we wrap up this deep dive,
I
want to leave our listeners with a question.
What other Black authors should we be reading to expand our understanding of the Black experience? Particularly when it comes to race reproduction and the meaning of liberty.
That's a fantastic question to ponder. It's a reminder that this conversation doesn't end here. It's an ongoing process of learning, unlearning, and challenging ourselves to create a better world for all. So keep diving deeper, keep asking questions, and keep pushing for a more just and equitable world. Until next time.
Stay curious.